situation with North Korea intensifies, you know who says he'd be honored to sit down with Kim Jong-un, whom he calls one smart cookie. So, has he truly lost his mind? Did he forget what has been going on? I mean, what is he trying to now be diplomatic? Did somebody pull his coattail and say, listen, doll, you got to figure this out?
I think he's trying to go with that line of him being the great negotiator once again, that he's going to get to the table, and no matter what kind of tyrant is there, they're going to suddenly be convinced that Donald Trump, knows what he's doing, and they're suddenly going to, be turned over to democracy or whatever it is. This has been a problem, though, for many administrations, not just his. You had in President Obama in a 2007 debate, I remember him saying that he would meet with leaders of Iran, of Syria, of numerous countries that were led. Did he say how wonderful and delightful they were? But he said without preconditions, and that's the same. That was a problem for me when President Obama said it, and it's a problem now.
Just to meet without preconditions.
Yeah, but even if you meet with them without preconditions, these are countries that oftentimes infringe brutally on people's human rights. They should have to change the way their country works in order for us to sit down at a table with them and be willing to talk about anything.
Here's what I've learned. It does not work that way. Right. And one of the things that I know happened, I believe happened with President Clinton, when he would go and deal with North Korea, he would say to Kim Jong-il, look, you don't have any money because all you create is armament. You just create devices that kill and bombs and stuff. So here's the deal. You don't sell your bombs to anybody else, and we'll give you the money to feed your people. Because we know that's all y'all make.
Yeah.
Now, if you go over to the other Korea and you mess with them, we're going to get all those folks out of there, knock your country out, wait 10 years and put everybody back. Are we clear? And Kim Jong was like, okay, we're going to do this. You give us the money. We're not going to sell our stuff to anybody else. I think diplomacy, when you're dealing with dictators and really brutal people, is much better than puffing up, because when you puff up, you then have to act. And you can say, listen, we're going to bomb you out of the what, but you have to be prepared for that. And I think the really adults said, look, we're not doing that. We're not doing that.
That's a very tough kind of diplomacy. Like, I could be on board with that kind of diplomacy, but that's not what often happens. What happens is a lot of appeasement. For example, with the way we dealt with Syria and Assad has been empowered. I mean, he was able to commit that massive genocide because we didn't do that.
The last time that we messed with a country who was bombing their own people and spraying their own people, we're still in that war. We're still in that war. So that doesn't work either. So there has to be a better way. I personally feel like the rest of the world needs to step up oftentimes, because we can't be the only ones saying, hey, listen, we're seeing this. We can't be the only ones fighting for what's right in the world. Not the country, not democracy. It could be socialism or whatever it is, but it can't come from the bombing place anymore.
But Trump thinks that if he flatters them, it's going to work somehow, because when they do it to him, he says, Putin, he's a great guy. He likes me. I think he's great. That's how he operates. He doesn't understand. Doesn't seem like he understands that there are policies in place, and that Kim Jong-un is going to say, oh, he thinks I'm a smart cookie. I think I'll get rid of my nuclear arsenal. I'm just going to get rid of it.
And that's not true.
That's where he's at.
But that's not true diplomacy. But I have to agree with Whoopi. I mean, I'm oftentimes very conflicted about this. Are you diplomatic when it comes to a dictator, when it comes to someone like the president in the Philippines, who has killed 7,000 people because they're addicted to drugs? But I think that there has to always be diplomacy when it comes to
doesn't it when you say something good about Duarte and Kim Jong, doesn't it legitimate them a little?
I certainly don't think you compliment them.
When the president of the United States it raises them up. And so, but I don't know any other person who's been in the job who's done that. This is a first for me.
This is a new one.
The other thing is, when you think of do you guys remember a few weeks ago when Senator McCain said lightly something along the lines of Kim Jong-un is maybe like a spoiled fat kid or entitled fat. Kim Jong-un responded and was like, he said something along the lines of, this type of thing could be a declaration of war. You're talking about someone that's really unstable. So that's not someone I think you make a date with.
But can't we
No, you have to, because when you start it, when you start the aggression, you have to back it up. And if you're being aggressive in a place where, you're sending up things that are not going to reach anywhere. But when you want a lot of attention, this is a kid who needs a lot of attention and wants a lot of attention.
Kim Jong-un?
Kim Jong-un, Okay?
And the first one, Il, by the way, had a very good relationship with China. This one does not.
No.
So it's a little harder to negotiate.
Except that what we should have done is say, listen, we're not going to take this, man. Come on. We're not going to do this with you. We're not going to indulge in this because we know that you don't have anybody surrounding you. I have all the game pieces, man. Right. We got China, we got this one, we got that. Yeah. So you need to sit down and talk to us because together we could wipe you out.
But then yours is by Trump. Then are we agreeing that this subtle diplomacy is good?
No, but
it's
he does it in this very simplistic way.
I don't think it's good.
You don't just go out and say the guy is a smart cookie. You go behind the scenes and you have diplomatic
slap
relations.
in the face to the people that have been killed by these dictators. And
Kennedy, during the Cuban Missile Crisis, did not say, gee, I really like Khrushchev. They made a deal behind the scenes. Yeah.
But there was
then we didn't have a catastrophe.
There's also, like Whoopi's example with President Clinton, there was a consequence, the way she phrased that. There was, we will do this, but you better do this. And that's been missing. We didn't do that with Syria.
How do we know that Tillerson isn't doing that?
You don't draw a red line, and then when they cross the red line, you do nothing about it. So it has to be diplomacy, but if you continue to do this, guess what? We're not going to sit here and keep
perhaps Tillerson is doing that.
Perhaps he is, but you know what? It would be good and comforting for the nation to know that they're on top of this as opposed to just letting it, look like we're thumbing our nose and we can't really back it up. So I think, it would be, diplomacy is always, I think, better for us because we are a big nation. We are the big mammy jammy in the world. We're one of them.
Mammy jammy.
We'll be right back.